Alrighty, okay, so let me just go back to what I was talking about. I was just about to tag you. So I was talking about shadow work and why I love it so much, especially in business, especially when we are stepping up in our leadership, because it will be your shadow stuff that holds you back, right? The fear of not wanting to be seen as too arrogant or too powerful, or not wanting to come across as selfish or money hungry. You know, all of these very, very subconscious drivers, they are the things that reside in our shadow. These are the things that really hold us back from stepping into our full power, yeah, and stepping into our brilliance and allowing our genius to shine forth. So I've noticed with every single one of my clients, the more shadow work we do, the more empowered they become and the more comfortable they become with their empowerment, especially, right? And it's that level of comfort, wanting to be comfortable being seen first and foremost as a leader, right? Because for so many people, that's super uncomfortable. They subconsciously rebel against the idea of that. Maybe because they have a strong shadow against leadership, yeah? So maybe they've known someone in the past who's abused their leadership or abused their power. And so they made a very subconscious decision that says, I don't want to be anything like that person. And as a result, whenever we make a decision like this, like a shadow decision, what happens is we cut ourselves off from the light and the dark aspects of that shadow. Okay, so let me give you an example. If the shadow is arrogance, right? So say you have a very unconscious or inherent desire to like, or it's not even desire, it's like it's this absolute fear. You do not want to come across to other people as arrogant, right? Then you block yourself off from the energy of arrogance, but you also block yourself off from the light attributes of arrogance as well, the light side, which I think is actually confidence and power, yeah? Like empowerment and confidence and your ability to, really own your brilliance and own your gifts and not feel uncomfortable to share them, right? Someone who's so super worried about being perceived as arrogant will literally tone their gifts down, right? It's like that tall poppy syndrome, yeah? It's like we kind of pull ourselves down so that we're in line with everyone else, so we don't speak out or we don't stand out. So today we're going to delve into a particular aspect of the shadow, which is looking at the money shadow. Super, super important and super powerful. And I'm going to take you through a couple of visualization processes. We're going to do some tapping. And I want you to really be like, bring everything to this, yeah? Bring everything that you have, especially in relation to money, right? All of the stories that you have or that you've heard or that reside in your unconscious or that you heard your parents talk about, right? About money, about the nature of wealth, in particular about the nature of wealthy people, okay? And that's what we're going to look at today. Obviously, I think it's pretty obvious why we would want to, clear the money shadow, right? Because it's the money shadow that is holding you back from amassing great wealth, yeah? It's that part of you that is not wanting to be perceived a certain way around money. Now, you may or may not, this depending on your own wiring and programming and what you've inherited from your family, this will be either very, very highly charged or kind of mediocre, yeah? And it doesn't matter how it shows up for you. If it's mediocre, it just means you've got a bit less work to do around it, yeah? But if it's highly charged, if there's a lot of stuff that comes up, and there often is with money, because money is such an emotional thing, it evokes so much emotion within us. When we have this energy cleared, yeah, it's very powerful in our first and second chakra. And this is where a lot of shadow work resides, particularly the second chakra, but the first chakra very much so as well. So if, subconsciously, and if you've ever wondered, why is it that I can't seem to reach my income goals? Or why do I subconsciously sabotage money? Like, why do I seem to subconsciously push it away? Or it lands in my bank account and then I spend it and it goes. Or, we've all got stories about money, right? No matter if you grew up in a very wealthy home or if you grew up in a very poor home, it doesn't matter. We all have stories about money because it's so societally loaded, okay? So enough talking. Actually, before we do, I'd love to get a little 1 to 10. If 10 is money and I are not enemies, but if 10 is like, I'm allergic to money, and 1 is like, I'm a money magnet and I can handle and manage money, and 10 is like, I am allergic to money, every time it comes towards me, I seem to somehow get rid of it, or I don't feel very good about it, where would you be on that scale of 1 to 10? And I want to get all 4 of you, and if you're watching the replay, I'd love to hear where you land on that scale, just so I have a bit of an idea. And I'm going to get some notes ready. I don't know what it is about doing Facebook Lives. My nose always gets itchy. It doesn't happen when I do Zooms. It's super weird. I always get a really itchy nose. I feel like my nose gets red and itchy. It's very strange. 5. So that's good. So you're 50% I'm a money magnet and 50% I repel money. Sarah, 70% I repel money. Would you say 70%, 30%? I'm pretty good. Who else? Mary and Luke, let me know where you land on that scale so that I can just have a bit of, it's good to check in like this. I love that happens to you. I know, it's super weird. Anyway, and then I'm going to look like I'm picking my nose to try and scratch it. 7 to 8, money is a symbol of success in my family. So to have money means I'm a success. Now, 7 to 8, I'm taking that as that's your 70 to 80% feeling like a money, like you're allergic to money. Whereas 1 is like, I'm sweet, I'm all over it, I feel good. Let me know, is that true? 7 to 8, like, yeah, more of a money repeller than a money magnet. 80%, okay. Maybe, I'm guessing, but I certainly don't attract it and certainly don't have much ever. Yeah, and that straight off the bat is a good indicator, right? Because if there was wiring in you around feeling really comfortable with money, if there was that wiring, then you would be amassing it, right? Sindra always gets an itchy nose on our lives as well. That's so funny. Oh, weird. Anyway, I don't know what happens. All right, so I have my process over here on the computer and I'll be kind of referring back and forth. I just want to quickly talk a couple of minutes. I want to just share my understanding of how money impacts the chakra system, or how we perceive money through the lower chakra system. So in particular, I see money as a very first and second chakra energy. It does come into the third chakra as well, but that's in more of a visibility way. But at the first chakra, money's all about, it's our wiring around survival. Yeah. So we've all collectively made this decision that money is a metaphor for survival, right? That if we don't have money, then it's difficult for us to feel safe and secure. It's difficult to survive in the world, right? So that's how it shows up in the first chakra. It's very linked to survival, to safety, to security, feeling that or feeling a lack of that. And then it's like the nervous system, fight or flight response. Yeah. So there'll be a very, very strong, we can often have a very strong stress response around money. And there'll often be a very physical reaction that we can have in our body. And we have that because there's actually a mind, body, and money connection, right? Mind, body, money. So whenever you open up they don't really come in the mail anymore, do they? But I remember when I had a terrible money mindset and my credit card bills would come in the mail and I would leave them sitting in a pile, and sometimes I'd get 4 or 5 of them before I would open them, right? And then when I would open them, I'd feel like the pit of my belly would fall away. Yeah, it's a very, very strong, visceral, body, tangible response. And that's because the body, at the first chakra, money can be very connected to stress, okay? And the stress response. So at the second chakra though, once we're no longer just surviving with money, right? We're actually starting to thrive. We've got money coming in, it's flowing, it's feeling really good. We move up to the energy of the second chakra, where money then becomes a metaphor for power, for prestige, for, and often for domination, right? And this is what we're going to look at today with the shadow. But it's very much to do with our perception, how we're perceived by society, right? Whether or not we're perceived as, as being powerful or successful, right? As Mary said. So it kind of is very different between the first and the second chakra, but that's very much where money comes in on an energetic level. Would this money and stress response sit around the lower back? I feel it's definitely very connected to the lower back, because the lower back is all about support and feeling supported. Yeah, I think it's Louise Hay who first coined that. But my lower back will often go if I'm in a space where I'm feeling really unsupported, or if I'm feeling stressed about money. So I notice a very strong reaction there. And that's also our kidneys, right? So in Chinese medicine, the kidneys are very, very related to fear. So if you have fear around money, right, feeling not supported, it makes sense that it would show at the lower back, but not for everyone, right? It's different for people, but I've noticed that for myself personally. So let's get started. Shadow work's all about integrating all aspects of us, all of the sides of us, the dark and the light. Okay, so whenever we do shadow work, it's important to say, you know, big emotions might come up, and that's okay. Big emotions might come up later down the day, like later down the track of the day, and that's perfectly okay. Remember your tools, tapping, right? It's one of the best. I love working with tapping, especially with money, because money, there is a mind-body-money connection. We need a tool that helps us move things through our body, right? So whether that's tapping, breath work, of course, you know, movement, like we really need to be able to move it through our system. Interesting, my lower back has been sore all week. There you go. So let's have a look then. I'm going to ask all of you to close your eyes and bring your feet flat to the floor. And I want you just to take in a really big deep breath and out. And release it with a big sigh. We're going to do that again, except we're going to breathe in for 6 and out for 6. Alrighty, and keeping your eyes closed, I want you just to listen to my voice and follow along. So when we're talking about the shadow, we're really looking at the dark side. And in particular today, we'll be looking at the dark side to money. The dark side to people who've amassed wealth. And especially all of the actions and attitudes that you perceive are required to amass great wealth. So it's really important for us to have a deep understanding of how the money shadow is operating for you in your energetic system, in your programming. And some of this can be a bit controversial, but it's important to play along because it's really, really powerful. So I want you to just take another big deep breath and keep your eyes closed. And I want you to allow your mind to paint you a picture. And this is a picture of you at the age of 6 or 7. And you're standing in your old childhood home, the home that you lived in at the age of 6 or 7. And your parents, the age they were when you were 6 or 7, are in the room with you. And they're talking about how they feel about money, how they feel about wealth. So first of all, I want you just to sense the energy. How does it show up in your parents of you at that young age when they talk about money? What emotions do they have that run strong that you can sense? What emotions did mum have about money? What sort of things did she used to say? How did she illustrate managing money or dealing with money? How did she show that to you? Or did she not show that to you? And then I want you to shift to dad. How did your dad respond about money? What was his emotional state typically about money? What sort of actions did he demonstrate about the nature of money and the nature of work? And what sort of things did he used to say? And then I want you just to quickly shift and look at you as this young person, this young child, 5 or 6 years old. How do you feel? How do you look? What's the emotion in you at that age, in that household, with this conversation about money happening? And as much information as you can gather here, I really invite and encourage you to do that, because what you're witnessing is your earliest family paradigm around money. We're going to delve a bit more into that. So now I want you to allow you, the child, in this visualization to disappear. And now you, the adult, are walking into this old childhood home, except this is the future version of you, maybe 5 or 6 years down the track, and you're walking into your old home. Your parents are there and you're dressed beautifully. You've got this expensive clothing on, you've just had a massage, and you're walking into your old parents' house to tell them that you're making 10 to 20 times the amount of money that they made. And you're only working 3 to 4 days a week. And that money comes so easily. You've got so much money in savings. I want you to see what happens when you say that to your parents. So, first of all, what's the feeling in you? How does that feel for you to walk in and say, to brag all about how well you're doing and how much money you're making and how you're making so much more? How does that feel for you? And then I want you to notice, what's the energy like in your parents as you walk in telling them all of this information? Are they pleased? Are they supportive? Or are they a bit judging or a bit distrustful? Are they critical? Or are they happy for you? And it might be different depending on mum or dad. And that's okay. That's important. And what sort of things are they saying? Okay. Now, what were to happen if I were to tell you that you're going to say to your parents that you're about to jump in a limousine with 3 billionaire friends and you're about to go out and have a wild night out on the town? What would be their response? And how would that make you feel? What are your reactions? What are their reactions? So what you're looking at here, like I said, is your earliest family paradigm around the downside or the dark side to money. And what you're feeling is the push against the money shadow. The push against the money shadow. I want you to just stay in with this visualization, stay in with the emotion of it. But the push against the money shadow will often keep you from allowing yourself to be wealthy based on the wealth set point that your family had and that you may or may not have inherited. So I want you to just take a big deep breath and ground back into your feet and open up your eyes when you're ready. And I want you to let me know in the comments, what kind of judgments did you see in your parents? How did they respond when you walked into that house saying, I'm making all this money, it's coming so easily, I only work 3 days a week, and I've got so much money in the bank account, and I'm about to go jump in a limousine with all these billionaire friends, and we're going to have a wild night out on the town. What was their judgment? What was their judgments? Okay, and I want you to type that into the comments, because this is really important. So what kind of judgments about you did they have? Or maybe they didn't have any judgment, and that's important to let me know that as well, okay? Did they think that it was selfish? What I hear a lot is like, they don't trust that I'm making this money in a legit way. I hear that a lot when I do this process with people. Like there's a bit of distrust there. It's like, what are you doing to get that money so easily? And that often shows up because it's challenging an old inherited story about working hard, having to be a hard slog. And so anything that comes easily, any money or wealth that comes easily, is to be questioned. Like maybe it's coming through criminal means or illegal means. So just let me know when you're ready. What sort of judgments did your parents have about you as you walked into that house? And then as well, what sort of judgments did they have about the three wealthy people that you were meeting up with in the limousine to go have a wild night out on the town with? What would they say about these business people that have built their wealth? We don't know how, but they've built and amassed great wealth and are taking you out for a big night out. What sort of things would they say? Because it's really, really important that we understand the specific judgments that show up. Okay, so the more we can understand, the more this tells us about what's happening in our shadow. My dad wasn't that interested by the money, but happy I wasn't burning myself out for the man. Great. Really good. What about mum? Was mum around then? And sometimes, it depends, like I said, on the strength of the shadow. But sometimes there's not a particularly strong pushback against it. And that's, like I said at the beginning, that's really great. It means that you don't have necessarily a particularly strong shadow. My mum panicked and started worrying about legitimacy and security. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I said before. Like, are you doing this in a legitimate way? And that distrust there can often... it can often highlight, and fraudulence, it can often highlight this money shadow, right? It's like I said, is it possible to amass great wealth easily, effortlessly? Or is that, does the person amassing that money have to be doing something really badly wrong, in order to get that money, right? In order to amass that money. So it's not possible to amass great wealth unless we're doing things illegal or where, it has to be a hard slog, right? It's kind of the two different things there. Sarah, let me have a read. Mum was judgmental. I could tell she was screaming and critical of me making my own money. Then thrilled when I said I was going out with billionaires, which made me judge her for her shallowness. Dad was proud of me, but happy for me, but a little skeptical, but also relieved I was making my own money. Dad laughed when I said I was going out with billionaires, wished me to have fun, but didn't understand why I was hanging out with billionaires. All right, Mary, Mum was admiring, Dad cautious. Now look after it if you have it. I felt like I was trying to impress them, buying their love, reinforcing that I needed to be successful, to be loved and approved. There wasn't any real reaction to the three friends, but they were surprised because that is not what I would normally do. And that's really interesting that you've, tapped into. It's like, I have this sense, this feeling that I'm trying to impress them. I'm trying to buy their appreciation or buy their love or their approval. So there's definitely some areas to look at in there, I think. It's like you said at the beginning that, amassing money is the family's status for success, right? Yet this shown up here that there's this part of you that, imagining or visualizing that you had that money, yet you felt a bit uncomfortable with it, kind of like am I trying to buy them off? Okay, if that makes sense, Mary. Dad didn't want to talk about money and left the room and shut the door. Mum made do with what they had, always put food on the table, and it was the basics. Mum and Dad were proud and wondered where I'd learned to do that. When I drove off with the three billionaires, my parents shrank. I felt like I had lost them. They were farmers. Interesting. Okay, so particularly strong with this here, Jenny, is what I would call the vow of loyalty. Okay, so when we're talking about money at the first chakra, it's very much how it impacts our family story, or the family stories that we've inherited from our family, right? So if you had, if in that visualization there was this sense of camaraderie between you and your parents, they were proud of you, they were supportive of you, then often that suggests that there's a vow of loyalty. So that means we have a vow to be loyal to our parents, right? And to the way they were with their money, yeah? So we'll often find that we have a set point. We set a very specific set point, like this amount of money I can make easily, but anything beyond, completely hard, completely impossible. And so we'll butt up against that set point, and then, we won't necessarily bust beyond. And we'll find often that set point is very similar to the set point that our parents had. So unconsciously, through this vow of loyalty, we're going, no, I'm going to stay in line with the family norms. Remembering at the first chakra, the family norms, it's like, it's very related to primal days where we needed the security and the strength of the tribe to survive, right? And if we got castrated out of the tribe, it was like death. Yeah, so we needed to be in that tribal space to survive. And money can play out very powerfully in our money story, because it's like very, very, very subconscious, super subconsciously, we go, I'm taking on a vow to be loyal to my family, which means I'm not going to upshow them. I'm not going to make more money than them because I don't want to put them off, or I don't want to upset them, or I don't want to show them off, right? I'm going to kind of stay in line with the family norms. And the fact that you said you felt them shrink, especially when you were driving off with, all of your wealthy friends, that really highlights and illustrates very powerfully this, that was breaking the vow of loyalty. Now, if you had the opposite experience where your parents were distrustful or, jealous or scheming and, not sure, like it just didn't feel very good, or there was distrust there, then often that will illustrate that there is actually not a vow of loyalty, but a vow of rebellion, right? So you've taken on a very, very subconscious vow that says, I'm going to be nothing like them. I'm going to be nothing like them with my money. I'm going to be nothing like them with my parenting, or, whatever it is that you're talking about. We're talking about money here, right? I'm going to be nothing like them. So I'm going to rebel against them. But what happens then, right? Anytime we're trying to be not like someone else, we're not being who we truly are, right? So we unconsciously, it's like whenever you say, I'm going to be nothing like my parents when I grow up, and then you find yourself behaving like them, right? Or speaking and you sound like your mum or your dad. So we actually end up attracting the things or the patterns that they demonstrated, that they passed down, because we're trying so hard not to be like it, that it's kind of like a rubber band, right? We pull until we can't pull anymore, and then we smack all the way back. So how this impacts your money often will be feast or famine cycles. So you can make a lot of money, but then you'll get rid of it. And you make some money and then you get rid of it. Whereas the vow of loyalty, you'll butt up against a set point, but it'll be very, very hard to move beyond. So let me know if that resonates, everyone. If you had both parents, like one parent being one way, another parent being the other way, then that illustrates you have both vows playing out. And actually we all have both vows playing out, because, we all have that need to rebel, but it just depends on what's stronger. So there will be an overall energy of support or an overall energy of distrust, sometimes even anger. So let me have a look. Yes, is the energy of just having enough and nothing more. There you go. So that's your vow of loyalty, okay? So we can definitely really delve into that through the next few sessions that we have when we're looking at mindset, because your vow of loyalty is keeping you in line in the family line. It's like, I can just have enough, but I'm not going to have anything more than that, right? I feel resistant to needing money to be seen as good enough. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to close your eyes once again. Quite a lot of information that comes through in these sessions and downloads. Closing down your eyes, taking a big deep breath, feet on the floor. And I want you to bring to mind someone who is very wealthy, someone who's amassed a great amount of wealth, but that you judge. Maybe you don't like their ethics. It can also be a corporation if you find it difficult to pick someone. And it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that you know. However, it kind of is more powerful if it is someone that you know. So it's okay if there's no one that you know that comes to mind. So someone or a corporation even that has great money, has amassed a lot of money, but it's changed them, or they've gone about it through means that you really don't like, you really, you judge. And someone that you have a really hard time with, like there's a lot of angst there. And I want you to try and pick someone that from the earliest exercise we did with your parents, that they would also judge and disagree with as well. And I want you to really look at this person or this corporation if you haven't found a person. And I want you to really uncover everything that comes to mind. I want you to get honest and allow yourself to get nasty. What are your judgments about them? How do you judge them? And you can actually come back to open up your eyes and type in your judgments into the comments. What are the judgments that you have about this person? How they've built their money? Has it been through illegal means, or are they doing bad things with it? What's the judgments that you have? And I want you, just like I said before, to really allow yourself to get, get your inner bitch out, and get really judgmental, arrogant, and uncaring. Keep going, Jenny, and everyone else. Arrogant comes up all the time, and that's why I used it as an example. The arrogant shadow, the shadow of arrogance is massive, especially men and women. It's massive for both. We don't want to be perceived like that. We don't want to be perceived as arrogant or selfish. Selfish is the other big one, yeah, and that'll probably come up for someone, I have no doubt. Selfish. Look how selfish they are. They have all this money and they just keep it to themselves, right? So arrogant, uncaring. I'll write selfish down because I know how often it does come up. How are they, what are they doing with their money? How has the money changed them? Or, are they doing it through illegal means? Or, is it having a negative impact somewhere? So really bringing all of these thoughts and all of these judgments to the surface. Sacrificed his life for money. Totally self-absorbed. It's all about how big and expensive everything he buys is. Mum particularly admires this. Certainly nothing wrong with it. Okay, so sacrificed life. Self-absorbed. It's all about the show. Can you phrase it again for me? I didn't feel anything. Okay, so if you can, try to find someone who, whether you know them personally or you know of them, someone who has amassed lots of money, but they are wealthy, but you judge them for it. Yeah, maybe the way that they do it, the way that they've created their wealth has been, through a means that you disagree with. Maybe the way they are with their money, you find distasteful, or it's changed them. Pretentious. And this is really where we get into this, we sink our teeth into the power of shadow work, right? So shadow work is always going to be more powerful when you have a very a high charge against someone. It's a strong charge. There's some people that you meet that you just, you spark against them and you're like, what is it about this person? But I just cannot stand them. They rub me the wrong way. That's a great, great opportunity for you to delve into shadow work there, because there will be something in that person that is triggering something within you, right? Wielding power for personal gain. Okay. Alrighty. I think I judged the lifestyle. Big, flashy, not real, materialistic. Okay. Alrighty. So let's do some tapping. Okay, so I've got my tapping script over here. We've got 20 minutes, so that's going to be enough to bring us up to the hour. And as we're tapping, like with all tapping, tapping rounds, we're leaning into the emotion. Yeah, we're leaning into the outrage or into the judgment or into the anger. The more you can allow yourself to feel it, the easier it's going to be to release. Yeah, got to feel it to heal it. So let's get started. We'll take in a big deep breath and ground our feet onto the floor. And I'm just going to jump straight in today. And I'll say a line and then you say a line, okay? Kind of this call and response. There they are. Look at them. So arrogant. They think they're better than everyone else. They think they're better than me. Absolutely uncaring. Pretentious. Self-absorbed. They don't care about anyone. They just care about themselves. They just care about money. Totally focused on money. Selfishly focused on money. Totally materialistic. It's all about the show. Just wielding their power for personal gain. I never want to be like that. I would never be like that. And my family and friends agree with me. What an awful example of wealth. I want nothing to do with that. I totally judge it. And I'm right about that. Totally selfish and arrogant. Uncaring. They don't care about the important things, like people. Just arrogant, just caring about themselves. They probably screwed people to get to the top. They probably hurt people to get to the top. I totally judge them. And I should. I don't want anything to be like, I don't want to be anything like them. I refuse to be wealthy like that. I don't want anything to do with wealth like that. Okay. Take a breath. Close your eyes. So always tapping is a clearing technique, right? So we need to voice the resistance first. And often we need to voice it in a really honest and often a really over-the-top way. Okay, so that's why we do that first round, because it's voicing the shadow, right? It's voicing the judgment. The thing with the shadow work is that often we don't speak these judgments very often to people. We just think them. And then often we judge ourselves for judging them, right? So there's kind of the shadow works in many ways. And so keeping your eyes closed, I want you just to take a breath. And we're not going to necessarily be able to turn this person into a better person. Yeah, they may have done corrupt things to get their money. But I want you to look at this picture again of this person. Bring that picture to mind, and I want you to look and see, how do they look now? What's the intensity of your judgment toward them? Keeping your eyes closed, keeping in the energy of this. I have a question for you. What is the gift that they have for you? Now, I know they've probably and potentially built their wealth in a negative and arrogant way or a selfish way. And I'm not asking you to be arrogant or selfish or negative like that. But what I'm asking you to do is to look for the gifts. What does a person like that get to experience because of their selfishness? Because of their materialism? Because of their focus on wealth? What's the gift in arrogance, for example? And like I said before, it's often the gift or the light side is confidence. They know what they want and they get to ask for it, right? Or they get to stand up in their power and allow that power to be seen. What would you take if you could take a piece of this gift or a piece of any of the gifts of selfishness? What would the gift of selfishness be? Well, it's very similar. They know what they want and they're willing to go after it doggedly. Would there be a gift for you if you could stand up and ask for what you want? Would it be a gift for you if you could honor your value in a bigger way? Just tuning into the energy of the light side to the shadow, right? And recognizing that, for example, what would be the gift in being materialistic and money focused? Take another look at this person in your mind's eye. This may be a business person or someone who has handled and managed large numbers of wealth, large numbers of money in a way that has allowed them to create more, to amass more, right? There's a certain way that they are with money that has allowed them to create their wealth. And often when we shut down in the money shadow, we shut down thinking, I don't ever want to be like that. I don't ever want to be perceived like that. We will shut down our empowerment around money as well. That's the light side. So the dark side might be materialistic and just money hungry. But the light side will be empowered around money, confident with money, right? So we will shut down both sides. That's how powerful our shadows are. And we can tap into our power when we do this work, right? We can tap into the power around owning our power around money in a way that allows us to be a brilliant money manager, in a way that allows us to be comfortable with money coming towards us and accumulating in our bank accounts. $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, right? Without us feeling the need to subconsciously spend it or push it away or reject it because of the shadow. So taking a big deep breath and coming back to the space, we're going to do another round of tapping, just to start to bring all of this together, okay? And this time we're going to start with the karate chop point here. So just where the line of that hand meets the side of the hand here. So we're going to do the karate chop point. I'll say a line and you repeat it after me, okay? Even though I really judge this wealthy person, and I'm right about a lot of that, I'm open to seeing the conflict of this within me. I've been refusing to be anything like that because of the rejection, the disempowerment, and all the judgment it would get me in my life. I judge this person If I were to be wealthy, maybe everyone would judge me. And even though I really judge this money shadow person, I'm open to seeing the conflict in it. All this vow to be nothing like them, it does not let me receive the gift that this person has some gifts for me personally. A calling for me to step into my power around money. And I'm open to receiving that gift right now. I'm open to stepping into this part of me that is $1 million money manager. That would love to earn and amass great money. Millions of dollars. Okay, tapping through the points. I have a lot of judgment. And so does everyone I know. And I understand my push against wealth. I see now that I've managed to get rid of money along the years to avoid ever looking like this person. And I totally honor this push against my money shadow. All their negative traits are so clear. And I never want to be like that person. But I'm open to the gift in this for me. The gift in arrogance. A beautiful gift in this negative word, arrogance. A tiny bit more arrogance in my life might be good for me. Or we could call it confidence or empowerment. I'm open to the gift in being selfish. A tiny little gift in such a big bad word. Being a little bit more focused on my needs, on my money, my wealth, my goals, my business. Maybe that would be fun for me. But too little focus is causing me conflict. And I'm open to the gift in being focused on money. Focused on a way that allows me to bring my brilliance, my intelligence, my energy to every single dealing with money. I'm open to growing myself, my energetics, my mindset to be $1 million money manager. Earning, handling, managing generous amounts of money. I'm open to it feeling safe, to seeing tens and tens of thousands of dollars in my bank account. I'm open to being a wealthy person in a way that is congruent with my values, in a way that is loving and compassionate and allows me to be much more generous than I can be now. I'm totally open to growing myself into $1 million money manager. Now, universe, you can send me all this money and I'm going to handle it. I can handle it. I can manage it. I'll do right by it. I'll honor my innate brilliance. And I'm allowing that focus now to include money and wealth amassment for my highest good. Saying yes to money. Knowing that the more money I make, the more people I am deeply serving, the more transformation I'm facilitating, the more I'm living into my soul purpose for my highest good and the good of all. Okay, big deep breath. Close your eyes. And just allow that feeling, whatever you're feeling now, to flood every cell in your body. This feeling of being open and receptive to money, to being $1 million money manager, to having all of your needs taken care of, to shifting out of survival energy and into thriving energy. Knowing, most importantly, that each and every client that you serve, that you help facilitate life-changing transformation, has contributed to the money that's accumulating in your bank account. And I want you to bring to mind where you want that money to go. Money loves to have a purpose. So what's your big goal? Where do you want to send that money to? So, for example, my partner and I, we have a vision of owning our own property and being fully self-sustainable and having a retreat space that people can come, veggie gardens, chickens. And every time I get clients paying me money, I say a little prayer, a little gratitude, and I visualize this property that we're working toward. And I call it in and I say thank you to my client that has helped me contribute to that. Knowing that I, in return, am contributing life-changing, powerful, business-transforming mentoring. And I really invite you to do the same with your clients. Whenever, like, to have a goal, whenever you get paid by your clients, to thank them and to, you know, to see that their contribution is helping you move towards your dream. Yeah. And in return, you are helping them move toward their dreams. And what a beautiful exchange of energy is that. So just coming back to the space, I want you to just 1 or 2 words, let me know how you're feeling now. It's a big session. Anytime we do shadow work, there's always big stuff that can come up. Not always. Sometimes it's not that big for you. That's okay. But often it will evoke really big stuff. And I hope that you can see the impact that having a strong money shadow will and does have on your ability to create wealth for yourself. Yeah, it's so powerful. Like, we could really do months of work around money mindset. Yeah, next month I'm launching a money mindset course because it's so powerful. It's been the thing that has helped me get to this level in my business, right? But prior to doing powerful work on my money mindset, I was like rejecting it, pushing it away. Yeah, I didn't want to have anything to do with it, even though I knew that I wanted it. Yeah. So money mindset is such, like, when we work on our money mindset, it's so powerful, more focused, brilliant. Let me know, Jenny, did you have a sense of the money shadow and potentially how it was impacting you and impacting your relationship with money now? And I'll wait just for a couple more. Who else? We've got Luke and Mary on the call as well, to just give me a few words. How are you feeling? More confident, can feel less resistance than the last time we did it together. Yeah, we have done it probably maybe even a year ago. So that's good. That's really good. More confident. Excellent. And remembering as well, you know, what's your goal? What's the big goal? Why do you want to create this money? Yeah. Why are you building your business? Obviously we have our inherent goals, you know, our soul goals, soul level goals. But, you know, what do you want to do with all that money? Yeah, like money loves a place to go to. Liberated. Yeah, I love that. Totally. Always just getting enough or less up until now. Now, Mary, I know you had a question back up here about rebellion. You think this person is wonderful and made it in life, but their life is a mess, health falling apart, not happy, whereas I've got my act together, but I'm not as good as them. Okay, interesting. Yeah, interesting. So that's like the dichotomy that we can, the dichotomy that we can feel when it comes to the shadow work, right? And especially when we find someone, like I said before, who just triggers us so much, you know, like that triggering is a great opportunity to uncover what is being triggered within me. What do I feel they have that I'm missing or that I haven't healed within myself? Awesome. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm excited to see you all on Tuesday, and keep me in the loop how things continue to unfold with you. It's big energy work when we do this kind of work, especially tapping and shadow work and all of that sort of stuff. So Keep in communication about how you're feeling over the next few days. And I'll see you all on Tuesday. A financially independent old age and able to help my children. Yeah. So like vision it, get it clear. Yeah. Tangible, put it down somewhere tangible. Create a vision board or create it in your future. Alrighty guys, I'll speak with you soon.